Okay, everybody. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the C-Train Online Open Day brought to you by APS in conjunction with Siemens C-Train and the Siemens Training Department. What I'd like to do as a bit of a kickoff is give you a bit more information on who APS Industrial is, how we tie in with Siemens, at which stage I'll hand over to Sol. And Sol is going to run us through an example of how he would run one of the Siemens training courses online. And you guys will get to see firsthand how we can actually take control of the Siemens Field PG, which has the software on it, how we can actually manipulate and control the little demo boxes, etc., that are based with Sol in Melbourne. So without further ado, I'll kick off. So APS Industrial has been around for about 2.5 years now, and we've obviously got a very, very close connection with Siemens. We are exceptionally focused on our customers and our customers' success, which is one of the reasons why we thought we'd bring this this brand new way of training to you. So in the new COVID world, how do customers get trained? You can't send a trainer anywhere outside of Melbourne or Sydney or Brisbane for that matter. So you as a customer still need to get training. You still need to learn how to use the equipment efficiently and effectively. So we've come up with this flexibility and responsiveness. We like to believe we're acting really fast on our customers' demands, and appreciate any feedback that you might have on that as well as providing technical excellence and quality. So something that we've just created recently is a tech support team with various people based around the country. So you now have a single email address that you can send an inquiry to, and we have some really good technical people that can assist you before we then go out to our other suppliers. We have offices in every major or every state in the country, as well as Tasmania, and most recently moving into New Zealand. Some of this, I've just got the various state managers and all of their details up there. If you don't know these people, feel free to contact us. I'd be more than happy to share the information with you. Otherwise, take a screenshot now because it's all up there. So myself in Queensland, we've got Gareth McKean in Western Australia, Ezio Marino, South Australia, NT, Tony LaCastro in Victoria, and Ben Drew, who's our new state manager in New South Wales, with our fearless leader, Simon Carney, also based out of Melbourne. Now, while Siemens is our core brand and takes up a significant portion of our sales as such, we also have other core brands. Now, why do we need other core brands? Because we don't want to sell you a box, we want to sell you a solution. So we can not only sell you the CPU that you require, or the remote IO, or the circuit breaker, but we can sell you the enclosure that it needs to go into, and the piece of DIN rail that it needs to clip onto, and the terminal, and the power supply, and the push button. And so the solution grows. So in addition to Siemens, we have Wiedmuller. We're the only national agents in Australia for Wiedmuller. We're also the only national agents in Australia for Rattel. Our latest partner is Belden Cable. So that's instrumentation cable, data cable. Catco is a range of motor isolator switches, which I'm sure everyone in the market has seen before. And then TDK is power factor correction components, and any of those, we'd be more than happy to discuss that solution. Complementary brands, you can see them at the bottom, and it's about bundling up that solution, making it easier for you as a customer. So that's enough about myself and APS. Over to Sol, who's going to wow us with how he's going to deliver training remotely.
Thanks very much, Ernest. Show you my screen. Can you see it?
Yep, got it.
Fantastic. Well, welcome everyone. Good afternoon. My name's Saul Sawarce, and I've been working for Siemens for the last 5 years. Just a bit of an introduction of myself. Here's my LinkedIn account. Feel free to connect. I've been working in various industries for about 30 years professionally. Water, wastewater, food and beverage, mining, printing and packaging. I've done quite a fair bit of work in the US, Europe, and Australia for the last 30 years. Worked for Schneider for a long, long time, but now I'm with Siemens Industry, and in particular, training for industry. I do live a double life, and I am a radio announcer on the weekends. So if you're a bit bored on Saturday afternoon, Melbourne time, well, actually Saturday mornings, 11 a.m., you can tune into Fiesta Jazz. Without any further ado, let's jump into the training. And we need to have a focus on remote because of COVID. So everyone for a long time now has been buying and selling online. That's no secret. Bit by bit, we've been gaining confidence in the digitalization market. Many of us just use the phone willy-nilly, and we don't think about it anymore. Are we sharing data or anything like that? But what I want to focus on is on working from home, which is part of the new COVID normal. So if we are working from home, if we are troubleshooting from home, we also need to have a focus on studying and training from home. So that's the focus that I'm going to adapt right now. So how can we teach you to work from home by teaching you from home? So it's not only what you learn, it's how you learn. So we have a digital platform which you can get in. You don't need to pay to get into the digital platform. In fact, I'm going to show you very, very soon how you get in. There's open knowledge base on that digital platform. We do have C-Train Access, which is a subscription that you do at your own pace, 24/7, and you pay per year, but you do have training courses that you can do online at your own pace. And then we have C-Train Personal classroom training. But guess what? 2020 came, and we had to stop face-to-face. The risk was too high, restrictions, border closing all around Australia, and we have to come up with something that we won't bore you to death, bringing you just video trainings, completely impersonal webinars. So something more interactive and without going too far away from the actual core learning method of us, which is examples. You do exercises, you do examples, and then you learn at the same time that you make mistakes that we all in the classroom learn from our mistakes, because we share our screens and we can learn from those mistakes as we correct them. So first of all, I want to show you the C-Train Access digital platform. So if you Google C-Train Australia and just go in there, that's our website. The C-Train Australia website, you can book a training course, you can book a remote training course, you can go to C-Train Access. Now, before I go to C-Train Access, I just want to highlight our course catalog, which is right there for you to look at, where you can see all the online training offer, all the schedule face-to-face, whether it's PLC-based, HMI, SCADA, PCS7, variable speed drives. It's everything there for you. So that's our catalog. We do have a timetable, but it's all basically gone in this array. We are working on a 2021 training schedule, but with COVID, it's very unpredictable. The course price list is there too, from the C-Train Access Siemens platform subscription per year to the hands-on remote training to schedule face-to-face training on PLC, HMI, SCADA, PCS7, variable speed drives and servo drives. It's all there. Now, let's go to the C-Train Access. If you click on that yellow button there, on the right-hand side, you have Find Out More. You get onto it. I don't want to log in, so I put my Siemens card there. In fact, you don't really need to log in until you want a training course. So all these that I'm showing you is free for you to get in. So there's C-Train Access. I click on it. It takes a little while because it's checking if I am a Siemens person or not. So there it is. You have your platform to get in. There's some training courses. On the left-hand side, C-Train Access. You can then sort of tick here whether you want to see the virtual classroom, virtual instructor, instruction-led, document online, web-based. So I'm going to go into C-Train Access pretty quickly and just show you around a little bit. Once we finish this, then we come back to explain to you how we do remote training. So there they are. Here, you can then go to industrial communication, industrial control, security, WinCC, HMI. You can go see numerics, CNC automation, quite a few different training courses. You can see €0 because once you do log in to the training course, that's when your credentials are asked and you need to pay for your subscription. But feel free to go in and browse around and see if you're see something you fancy, and then talk to your APS salesperson in order to get the subscription. So back to the presentation. So we spoke about C-Train Access. Now, how do we go from the classroom hands-on training to online hands-on training? So as you can see in that picture, that's a good representation because we normally get two people to share one training kit and one field PG. So big difference between remote training to hands-on classroom face-to-face training is the fact that you have tutorial for you directly. You take care, you take over a field PG on your own. So when two people are sharing, sometimes one person works harder than the other one. In this particular case, you have the responsibility. You have to do 100% of the exercises on your own. So from classroom hands-on training to the remote hands-on training. So we have the training case, the field PG with TIA portal or Step 7 Classic, because we do also have Step 7 Classic remote. We only have TIA variable speed drives, TIA HMI, PCS7 is also on remote. So you take over the field PG via the internet. Now there is a challenge here, and it is the conveyor model. And I will tell you how we overcome that conveyor model in a second. So we have you there, the student at home or in the office. We get you connected on the internet and we give you credentials to take over that field PG. Therefore, you don't need the license. You don't need a very powerful computer to run TIA portal. All you need is a good computer connected on the internet, unlimited downloads, because we don't want you to slow down in the middle of the training course. We want you to be on a firewall that's friendly for Google Chrome remote desktop, because some firewalls like to block it. We also need you to have several screens. So the student take over the TIA portal through remote desktop. Then what's happening is we designed a digital twin using TIA portal to overcome the fact that you don't have that conveyor belt next to you. The conveyor belt is here, it's right here in this room. I will show you the setup in a second. And I'm not going to be loading these tokens so you can move them up and down the conveyor. That will be impractical. So we have a digital twin using WinCC Runtime Advanced to help us complete the training course. Apart from that, we use Smart Server client application, which is a Siemens free application if you control one HMI. So then the real HMI that you create will control the digital twin, as well as controlling it through, of course, the PLC. So that's a setup that we have. 4 students maximum. Why 4 students? Well, first of all, we have a limited amount of training kits. Number 2, you also have 1 trainer taking care of 4 students very, very closely. How? Using Microsoft Teams. So we do recommend that you have 2 separate screens. So in one screen, you're going to have the tutorial, whether it's myself or Paul Sutton or Asita, the trainer that we have in Perth, training you, showing you the presentation, which is exactly the same presentation, 17 chapters from Tuesday morning to Friday midday, for example, if you are doing Classic or TIA Pro 1 or Pro 2. It's basically the same training course with some variations. Why some variations? Because we don't actually train you on remote control when we do face-to-face training courses. Therefore, we have to adapt to that particular way of learning, and we teach you how to remote control everything. So one screen, you will have me and the presentation. On the other screen, you take over the field PG. So let me show you for a second before we will give you a demo with Ernest of what's the setup that I have here. So there is Google Chrome Remote Desktop, and there it is, Ernest's field PG waiting for him. But this is my field PG, which is right next to me on my left-hand side. So we give you credentials, you log in with a password, so no one else can take over but you. And there it is. If I maximize this particular window, which is my iPad working as a camera, I can now show you the complete setup. So this is the setup that we recommend for a student. 2 additional screens, plus a laptop, a coffee mug and a baseball. Not really, that's just me. That's a very old coffee mug, by the way. That's the old high-tech. Look at that. I need one from APS now. I need one brand new one. Take note there, Ernest. So that's the recommended setup. If I go around the room, you can see now that every training kit has a field PG. So that one there is that Ernest is going to take over in a second. We do have another one, and finally a 4th one. And very important, we have a whiteboard. Why do we have a whiteboard? Simply because there's no substitution for a teacher standing up in front of a whiteboard and explaining things to the student. So it is part old school, part new school, what you're going to experience with us when it comes to the remote hands-on training. So now I'm going to leave the screen to Ernest. So Ernest, please take over the presentation so I can guide you like you are a student.
No problem. So can you see my Chrome remote desktop?
I can see it. Hopefully everybody can too.
Yeah. So just to clarify, so you're saying I'm in Brisbane, you're in Melbourne. I'm going to be able to take control of your field PG in Melbourne.
That's right. You're going just like a student. In fact, last week I had 4 students, and every single student had a different time zone. I had a guy from Fiji, a guy from New Zealand, one in Queensland, and one in Adelaide. And I was in Victoria. So every person had a different time zone.
Oh, there we
So
go.
there it is. That is a field PG that you're taking over, which has a camera looking down to it, an iPad actually. So first of all, we focus on troubleshooting. When we do the training course, we begin the training course with troubleshooting, and we end the training course with troubleshooting. So troubleshooting is at the core of our teaching. So even without knowing and touching TIA portal, we can troubleshoot. I'm going to show you in a second. Do me a favor and boot up Pranita. Pranita is a free software that Siemens allow you to download freely from our support website and allows you to troubleshoot Profinet network. So go to network analysis.
This one? Yep.
Yep, network analysis. And it's going to show you everything that's connected on Profinet to that field PG. So the field PG is on the left. You have the real HMI. You can see the conveyor PLC, Profinet interface, then the remote I/O. Now, to prove to the audience that you are controlling that field PG and that PLC, right-click on the PLC and flash the LED, and then show it in your camera.
Oh,
So there it is. That's right. You can also flash the LED on the remote I/O. You can flash the HMI if you want to as well. The whole HMI would just flash. Do it. Just right-click on the real HMI. Yeah, there it is. That's your remote I/O. Right-click on the HMI, and there it is.
Very cool.
So you are in control, not me. Here it is. I'm going to show you my hands now.
I'll change it to the PLC now.
Okay, so I'm going to create a problem, and I want you to find out what the problem was. So right-click on the PLC and open the web browser. What is a web browser? The web browser, it's a default on the 1500 PLC tool to troubleshoot. How do you do it? How do you get to this? You create the PLC on TIA portal, and you just go to the settings and you tick a couple of boxes. That's it. Now, obviously, we don't want people to hack into our equipment. And every time you open a web browser, you definitely open the door to hackers. So what we do is actually we give people the option of having hierarchies of login and passwords and limitations. So some people can have just read-only, so read and write. In this particular case, I give you no login at all. So you can just go in. We make it as easy as possible because we're training. This is the right environment for that. But in the real world, and this is something that we teach here, we're not only teaching you the software, we're actually teaching you best practice. So we will teach you how to do the hierarchy and create a password. So there it is. Everything is fine. I'm going to go now. I'm going to create a problem. So I've taken one item away from the remote I/O, and you can see immediately that there is an error. We're still running because the system is so smart that allows you to have an error yet continue to run, not necessarily have to go and an error and stop the whole plant. So I removed these, and because it's hot swappable on the ET200SP, then you're allowed to run with that error. Now, go to the diagnostic buffer.
How do we find what the error is?
Well, first of all, show in the camera that you have an error. There it is. Yeah. And you can see on your camera that there is a missing card.
Yep,
beautiful.
There.
Now go back. Yeah, you can see it. So go back now to the buffer, and it straight away tells you hardware component removed or missing. What you see right there is a time-stamped list of errors, or not just errors. What's happening on the PLC? That you don't necessarily need TIA portal to see it. As long as you enable this web browser, you can do it. So
But
now
Sol,
let's
that
find
doesn't
out.
tell me. That doesn't tell me exactly which card you've pulled out or which card's failed.
Correct. So
How
now
do we-
that's what we're going to do. So please go to module information. And all you need to do, because what happens with TIA portal is very colored visual help. All you need to do is follow the red and you'll find the problem. So there it is, remote IO. It gives you the part number, the IP address, the firmware version. Just click on the remote IO.
Wow,
There it
slot
is.
zero.
It's right
Oh,
there.
slot three. Cool.
So as soon as I replace this, because it's hot swappable, that error will go away automatically. No hands.
Right, we're all good.
Everything is back to normal. So how do we get to this? Well, we get to this by coming to the training course from day one, and we start from absolute scratch. So the first thing that we do with the students is show them this. We have a program preloaded on the PLC and the HMI, the remote IO, and we show them this. So then after that, we erased everything from scratch and we begin programming. So do me a favor and go to TIA portal. And just before booting up the digital twin, do me a favor and boot up the Smart Client app, which is a white dish you have down there, and remote control my HMI. You know the password.
Obviously, I put the wrong password in.
There it is. So that is the remote control of the real HMI. So if you click, for example, on production off to production on, everyone can see on the camera that it changes from blue to green. Now in production off, because we want to only in production to work automatically, and then in production off to work manually, please move the conveyor belt. So everybody can see that you are right now not only in control of the HMI, you're in control of the PLC and control of the real conveyor. Now let's boot up the digital twin and close that circle, shall we? So on your project tree on your TIA portal, you'll find the simulated conveyor. All you need to do is begin the simulation. And that simulation tells you that it's online by that heartbeat on the left. That number goes around. That means that you have real connection between the PLC and that HMI. If you had a 0, will mean that the field PG PC interface is not right. And if you have all hashtags, definitely no connection at all. So there it is. That's what we work with. So please bring that camera so we can see the real HMI, the virtual. Yep, excellent. So we can see the conveyor, we can see the virtual conveyor and the real HMI. And without me doing anything, just move both. So remove that token to begin with. Just remove it. Remove bay 1. Remove bay 1. Yep. Not bay 2, bay 1. Yep. Now load it just like a token. That is your production item that you're going to move along. Now with your real HMI, yep, that one, just inch it along. Yep, go.
There we go.
And you can see that you're actually moving both at the same time.
Very cool.
That's the end product. That's what we end up with on Friday. Actually, we finished this on Thursday afternoon. Friday morning, we actually go and troubleshoot. We do a special troubleshooting exercise, which I or the instructor, whoever is in turn, Paul Sutton, for example, or Asita, will bring a full T program loaded onto every single PLC. And he says, okay, guys, let's find out what's wrong with this. So there you have it. Let me just come back to the presentation for a second. So please allow me to share my screen. Can you see it?
Yes.
So going back to my presentation, target and requirements. So who have we designed this training course for? Obviously, for people that have basic knowledge on PLCs. Well, I have to admit that I had some students that had no idea of PLC whatsoever, but at least you want someone that has electrical knowledge and good PC knowledge too, because we need to, get online and manipulate Windows and all that sort of stuff. So engineers, technicians, consultants, and electricians. You do need a personal computer with high-speed internet. We have had people, for example, in Colac with terrible speed. And I've done a speed test, and my speed test is around 32 kbps. They had like 7. Under 10 is when it begins to actually be heavy, but you don't necessarily need, super fast internet either. You do need a good monitor. You need big monitors, preferably 2 big monitors, because TIA Portal is a very busy software, and you do need to click and drag and do a lot of things. And of course, we would like people that has electrical knowledge, a little bit of PLC knowledge, not necessarily experts. If you're an expert on PLC, well, we have TIA Pro 2. We have system updates. We have other training courses. And be able to use a Windows computer. That's pretty much what you need.
Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hand it over to myself again. I'll finish up on that screen over there. If anybody has got any questions, please send myself an email. There it is over there, ernest.vanniekerk@apsindustrial.com.au. We'd be more than happy to answer those questions. And again, I'd like to thank everyone for attending. It really is this simple. It's so well done, mate. I think this is a phenomenal concept that you're doing here in tough times, finding a way to get this done, right? Because there's still a demand from my customers. So really appreciate all the work you've done.